I have the blessing today of stepping in for Catherine and holding the space for Mynoo to present something special on the ego today. So welcome. Well, can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Hi. 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 Wow. I think we're really in for something extraordinary today, because we're going to be talking about the ego. And how the ego can serve us, you know? So as I am admitting people as they show up here, I think Mynoo will be with us in a few minutes, a couple minutes here.
So I'm right here.
Oh, there she is. Okay.
Hello, hello, Christian. Lee, David, Helene, Mary, Malloy, midnight or 1:30 in London, in Ireland. Hello, Mina. Hi, Sarah, Karen.
Mary. Oh, hey.
Okay.
Yes, hi, everyone. I didn't welcome you personally, but welcome to you. Hi, Sarah, Mary, Mina. It's Karen.
Hi, Dea.
Jean.
So Dea is our host today. Dea and I have known each other before I began my journey in Bali. She's one of those people who knows me from the before. She knows the before Mynoo.
The before Mynoo. Yeah, you too, Sarah. Yeah, the before Mynoo and the Mynoo.
Me too.
You know, yeah. I'm just absolutely amazed at every single time Mynoo shows up for us, like so consistently, and delivers such exquisite wisdom each and every time. I mean, it just, I have no words sometimes. I mean, that's how I feel. I'm just so much gratitude, and very, very happy that I'm here today to help hold the space here in the container for us to talk about the ego. Mary Catherine just joined us as well. And let's see.
Okay, Dea, I think it's you hand over to me, and I will go ahead and begin.
All right. Well, Mynoo, thank you. We're all looking forward to this transmission today. So the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dea. Yeah. Okay. So yes, about the ego. I have to say, a little bit surprised. I was sharing that with Gaurav, my business partner, and I was saying to him, it's very interesting, you know, ego has come in as one of the pearls of wisdom. A pearl of wisdom has been chosen to, the main reasoning that I receive intuitively is that each pearl is a pearl that has the capacity to create a world that works for everyone. So I was surprised that ego has that capacity and the capability of creating a world that works for everyone, considering all that we have heard about it. And I certainly have experienced myself in that negative connotation of ego. So definitely did make it feel like it was working for anyone, not even me at the time. So it's with great curiosity I engaged with it, and I'm very happy to share today what has come through. So ego. Now ego it's like they use the term called T-junction in at least in the UK. It's a driving term where you get to the end of the road and it's not a fork, it's a T-junction. You know, it's like you have to go right or left, and it's a very hard right or left, right? So given that that is really where you are standing, and in the context of ego, that's what is presented to you. What is the right, what is the left? And I'm not saying right or wrong, it's just like what's on one side, what's on the other. So let's first get to understand what is this ego stuff. So ego, by its nature, And this is where it becomes a pearl of wisdom, where it is a pearl that creates a world that works for everyone. Ego by its nature is an echo. And it could be an echo of generosity, generating opulence. Or it could be an echo of gregariousness, generating oppression. So that was interesting to understand, that it is an echo. So it's an echo of gregariousness, which generates oppression, or it's an echo of generosity that generates opulence. And opulence in a holistic sense. So the choice that we are to make is the choice between gregariousness or generosity. And then you can embrace the ego. And the moment you embrace the ego, it immediately gets to work. It's like a formula, which has got certain ingredients added to a base, to a base chemical, if you like, and a compound is created. An echo that generates, an echo of generosity that generates opulence. So generosity is the base chemical, if you like, the base there, to which echo is added, and echo of generosity enables generosity to regenerate itself. And it's in the regeneration of generosity that you have the experience of opulence. And that opulence, again, is generously shared. So the choice is yours. And that's why it is one of those moments of choice. As a pearl of wisdom, what I'm giving you here is some data about what ego is. Now you will process that data in terms of whatever chooses to come through for you as information. And from that, you will start surmising the knowledge that you have gained from your past experiences. And and that will start to become wisdom, because that will start to inform you how you can make the choice so that ego becomes an echo of generosity, generating opulence. And you can also stop yourself in your own tracks. So this is the first thing to get to know about ego. It's a T-junction. You choose, you turn right, you turn left. And on the one side, it could be an echo of gregariousness causing oppression, and then oppression starts to regenerate. Ultimately, it starts oppressing you. Or alternatively, you can go into the realm of generosity. And then the echo occurs, and that regenerates opulence. I now want to, so as a pearl of wisdom, it presents you with a choice, and you make that choice. It creates a false sense of comfort when you choose the direction where the echo of gregariousness is the choice you're making. It gives a false sense of comfort initially when you start experiencing that gregariousness and you start seeing oppression and people are conforming or giving in or whatever it is that they're doing. but it disappears very soon because alienation occurs and you sometimes get bought into your own experience of oppression and feel like you are so trapped that you can't get away from it. And it literally is like a crazy chain reaction of stuff that starts to come out of your mouth, actions that you start seeing yourself performing, that in the end, you start feeling oppressed by your own, in your own way, you start feeling oppressed. As if you're in a trap and you can't get out of it. The key thing to remember, when you are engaging in any form of ego, you're standing at that point where you can take either of those routes. So you can always literally snap out of it and choose generosity. Now, generosity always begins with generosity of spirit. It isn't always material. It actually never is material. And materialness comes in as an experience of opulence. And as we get towards the end of our session, I'm going to draw the curtains. You can see where I am. Experience a little taste of opulence. So you can, this is the key thing to know, at any point in time, when you are finding yourself becoming the oppressor, and that gregariousness is growing in such a way that it starts to sap you of life force. Initially, it feels, energizing and vitalizing. And as you see oppression spreading, it starts to actually deplete you of life force. And that's where you start engaging more and more and more in pushing and really like using bull force until you start feeling oppressed yourself. So wherever you're at, if you have that experience of oppression of any kind, you're right there. You can choose to take the next route. So you snap out of it, create your own pattern interrupts, and choose generosity. And it begins with generosity of spirit. What is generosity of spirit? Generosity of spirit is really the sharing of you, the spirit of you. And it is that spirit of you, the sharing of the spirit of you, that multiplies. Because when you are sharing this, the spirit of you, you start getting more and more connected to the spirit of the interaction that you're engaged in, the spirit of the moment. And spirit is unencumbered by, whatever may exist in the material world or the physical world. Spirit really resides in the realm of whole and completeness. So all you are to do is to make the choice of sharing your generosity of spirit, and as an echo, that echo reverberates, that experience of opulence starts to show up. And then you know that you've got even more to be generous with. And now you may actually have material objects. Go ahead and increase your generosity even more. And you have an echo of generosity generating opulence in all areas of your life. So once you understand that this is really what ego is, it is a point of choice. And in that point of choice, depending on what you choose, it creates an experience. That experience is created by the echo that is applied or that arises from the choice that you have made. You've chosen gregariousness, echo applied to that, may feel good initially, but as it keeps multiplying, it actually generates oppression. In that point of choice, you choose generosity, and you begin with generosity of your spirit. The echo then multiplies that and generates opulence. There is something else that is really important to understand about ego, and then we're going to go into the 7 blocks that come in the way of you making the choice of applying the echo to generosity to create opulence. So this other point to get is that ego, it's a point of choice, and it's a point of choice where you're making that choice for you. You may think it is about a particular situation. You may think it is about, about someone else or something else, or something out there causing you to make that choice. No, choice is always a very personal thing. You are the one that's choosing. You are always choosing. So it is a matter of your choice. And many of you who've done work with me, you've heard me always say, choose that which is the best for you, and it is the best for all. So choosing generosity, to be stationed in the generosity of spirit, is honoring and acknowledging the spiritedness of you, which includes being present to an existence of you beyond just your physical body. So when the opulence result starts to occur, and then the echo is applied to that experience, you actually start enjoying it and experiencing it in a full spectrum way, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, socially, and environmentally. Now, ego as a point of choice is, its impact reverberates exponentially in a full spectrum way. It affects you physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, socially, and environmentally. So choose with awareness. Choose as a conscious choice. So if you were to choose the gregariousness and you experience that, the oppression starts to occur and the echo reverberates, that oppression will start to reverberate across all of the 6 cylinders, I call them: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, and environmental. And that's as you progress down those, or as you progress along those cylinders, that oppression experience starts to feel oppressive to you as well. And initially, you may not experience any yuckiness, even making that particular choice. It's only as that oppression multiplies, because you just have to choose that gregariousness and then, act on it only a few times, because the echo just creates that automatic reverberation. I'm pretty sure all of us here have experienced, screaming in a place where there is an echo of a voice. It feels so much larger than us. And it's as if whatever we have screamed out is screaming back at us. That's the effect of an echo. And that's exactly what happens. I mean, to me, it was like, wow, yes, ego truly is one of the pearls of wisdom. I just have to say something. I mean, there are places that I've been to where you whisper, and that whisper echoes. And sometimes there are certain places where that whisper, it's like multiple times it's echoing back at you. It's as if several whispers are coming back. So that's the power of the echo effect. And it's all you have to do. Really, life's meant to be easy. All you are to do is to make a choice: gregariousness or generosity. And begin generosity with the generosity of spirit, rather than immediately going to something material that you want to give out. All of that will happen anyway, because that your material treasure trove will expand so rapidly with the opulence experience that you will automatically be generously sharing physical goods as much as you'll be sharing the mental calm and your intellect that you may have, as well as the emotional centeredness, elation that you may be present to. So that'll happen anyway. Begin with generosity of spirit. So this is a really important facet to understand, that whether you like it or not, it impacts us in a full spectrum way. So with that understanding that ego is a point of choice phenomenon, and you choose, echo is applied to that, and the phenomenon then results in an experience. And that experience is experienced in a full spectrum way, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, socially, and environmentally. You experience it in your body. You experience it in terms of your mental state, your emotional state. You feel connected, one with spirit, or you feel disconnected. So spiritually, it has an impact. You experience it in your social dynamics with your loved, near and dear ones, at work, in society, in your career, in your profession. You experience it in your environment. Environment where you live, environment at work, it all multiplies. And ultimately, everything has an impact on our planet, because everything is a vibration. Every pearl of wisdom is something that amplifies in a full spectrum way. It affects you directly, your stakeholders. And your stakeholders include your family and your friends, as well as people at work or at college, in society, in your communities, and the planet itself. It is a culmination of the different attitudes of humans that has an impact on the vibration of the planet. The vibration of the planet has an impact on the living things that make up the existence of this planet. So now that you understand what ego is, you can make the choice that is the best for you. And once you've made that choice, you allow yourself to be generous, stationed in the generosity of your spirit to begin with. The result is guaranteed because echo is applied to it. And that reverberation results in opulence, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, socially, and environmentally. So now that we know what that is, and you could choose to go in this direction, and you can also stop yourself in your tracks, just in case you've gone in the other direction of gregariousness and starting to experience oppression on you, on account of you, and then you start experiencing it for yourself. You can stop at any time. Take a breath. And if you attend the Beyond meditation, you can do the 9-4-6 breath, that 4 or 5 times, and that really gets you back in your center. And you can choose generosity of spirit, allow the echo to reverberate that. Let's now look at the 7 blocks that could come in the way of us choosing the echo to be applied to generosity, generating opulence. The first is an understanding of what a block is. So I'm very aware of the importance of words. So a block I could have chosen anything. I could have said, what are the hurdles? What are the obstacles? But no, what I received in my intuitive guidance was, we're going to look at the 7 blocks that could come in the way of us choosing echo to be applied to the generosity of spirit, and then generosity echoes out into opulence. So the first block by itself is an understanding of what a block is. A block is distinct from a barrier, and it is distinct from an obstacle. So a block is when you are stubbornly attached to an old way of doing things. That is when you feel blocked. And it doesn't have to be related to where you are feeling blocked. It will just be somewhere in how you go about taking action. You are stubbornly attached to a prescribed way of doing something, the how of doing something. So the first thing is to really look at, where am I stubbornly attached to a prescribed way of doing things? And all you have to do is to release your attachment to it. It may be that, well, I know how to do that. That I'm an expert in. Why would I not want to do it? Sure. Just don't be stubbornly attached to it. It's a stubborn attachment that becomes the block. And why does it become a block? Because it provides a filter from which we look. And therefore, we only see that which this filter will show us. And this is an important piece to understand, because if we are in the new norm, and many of you have been through the sessions on the 10 commandments of the new norm, and the new norm is uncertainty, certain, unknown is the known, take nothing for granted, is the modus operandi, and so on, then being stubbornly attached to a prescribed way of doing something, could cause some serious issues. So it's the stubborn attachment that causes the block. And so how do you ensure that this impediment is not there? And you can freely choose ego as an echo of generosity generating opulence, is by doing a block check. Just a block stock, if you like, taking stock of where you might be stubbornly attached anywhere in your life. And all you ought to do is, okay, acknowledge that, yeah, I have that expertise. I like working, doing it this way, and I'm not attached to it. It's, the power lies in your declaration. And your declaration of release of attachment is what gives you the power. That declaration with the power of release is not available to you if you don't fully acknowledge what's so. So the second impediment is us not fully acknowledging what's so. So where am I stubbornly attached? I mean, it just feels like a strong word, this stubborn stuff, I'm just so flexible, I'm so malleable, I flow. Well, if you're experiencing block anywhere in your life, there is some stubborn attachment going on. Acknowledge it. You don't have to share it with anyone. Acknowledge it for yourself. The power, the impediment goes away by you acknowledging it fully. If you sort of acknowledge it, the impediment doesn't go away. This is a very like black and white, light and dark situation. You acknowledge something fully, the impediment goes away. So the lack of acknowledgement is an impediment that could block you from choosing generosity, allowing the echo to be applied to that, generating opulence. So acknowledge where you may be stubbornly attached to a prescribed way of doing something. How do you know that? You know that where you find yourself stepping into opinions and becoming very attached to the judgment that you attribute through your opinions, however legit it may feel. I'm not saying don't have an opinion on anything. You can. Absolutely. It's becoming stubbornly attached to it. That's the issue. So just remember, it's not about being opinionated or not being opinionated. It really is the stubborn attachment. That's the issue. So by acknowledging where you are stubbornly attached, you also acknowledge the stubbornness. And that in itself, see, acknowledgement is so powerful. I've done a whole session, or maybe a couple of sessions on acknowledgement in Beyond Meditation. Acknowledgement is like a device that enables you to squirt out exactly the right quantity of exactly the right weed killer that removes, like disintegrates at a root level, something that could be like a weed. What acknowledgement also does is, it is that device which squirts out exactly the right amount of manure, of fertilizer, that really enriches whatever it is that you have seeded. But having a device like this, it's very fine, so it could easily get blocked. So use it often, which keeps that flow going. And it also ensures that when it gets slightly blocked, you can do something about it. But if you don't use it fully, then it degenerates very fast. So this is a really important, this is the second block that can very easily be overcome, it's very important to get that thoroughness in your acknowledgement. The third impediment that could come in the way of you choosing generosity and allowing echo of that generosity to reverberate into opulence. A third impediment that could be there is the impediment of, it's like lack of openness. Now, it was interesting. I could have used so many different ways of expressing it. And yet what came through was lack of openness. So what does it do? The knock-on effect of lack of openness is it brings forth a number of conditions. And then when we step into accepting something, it starts to have conditions attached to it. You know, our acceptances become conditional. And when our acceptances become conditional, what gets blocked really is allowing. And when we stop allowing, then you are only reliant on your own ability to generate solutions. And that literally starts to create all sorts of safeguards. And it prevents you from noticing ways in which you could fast track whatever it is that you're wishing to progress. An ego in its gregarious oppression-causing echo starts to percolate. The fourth impediment. The fourth impediment is lack of flow, like, really stopping yourself from flowing. So fine, I made the choice to be generous. And that's why I say, begin with generosity of spirit, because that is infinite. It literally is like a bottomless treasure trove of spiritedness of you that you can generate and regenerate. When you come from, just focusing on the material, you can begin really well, but the flow could stop at any time because you've only focused your attention on that which is visible and physical. So what stops flow is really not seeing the fullness of what is available to you. The infinite resources that you can tap into, regardless of what your economic situation may be, or what part of the world you may be in, lockdown, not lockdown, wherever. So in the choices that you make, choose those that can regenerate flow. And remember, it is a switch from sustainable to regenerative. That is one of the 10 commandments. So how about then, only choosing to take those actions, only choosing to make those choices, whereby when you make that choice, the result is produced, and the result is produced in such a way that it can regenerate itself. An ego certainly has got that ability because it's an echo. It's what you choose to be generous with to begin with brings about a regeneration of opulence as the echo reverberates it. So what it does is when you are choosing flow as your modus operandi, it automatically has the power to be regenerative. The fifth impediment that can come in the way of us being able to apply the echo to generosity, generating opulence as the ego effect for us. The fifth impediment that could come in the way of all of that is it's what I call as an obstacle. It's us collecting a set of obstacles that, like creating it like an obstacle course. I'll be generous if, I have already decided that I'm going to give 10%, 20% of my income, and I'll do that. I'll be generous when I get this level of income, when I exceed this. We put in these conditions, and they become like an obstacle course that we are going to cross over. An obstacle, what is an obstacle? An obstacle is a discomforting distraction that we put in place that prevents us from realizing the full calling of our soul. I'll be generous when I, get to 5 figures, when I get to 6 figures, whatever it may be. And then we go about, and sometimes we enter a hamster wheel and even forget where we are going. Discomforting, and it feels discomforting because you're like busy, but you're not quite getting there. And then it's starting to have a little bit of guilt, and then that's multiplying. You're getting busier still. And it's a discomforting distraction that you have put in place to prevent you from realizing the calling of your soul. It's an obstacle. So we create a collection of these obstacle courses, and literally they regenerate. Distractions, one distraction leads to another, leads to another, leads to another. And it's interesting, every word counts. So why am I saying it's a discomforting distraction that you put in place? Well, even saying, well, I'm going to get generous when I achieve a 6-figure salary. There's a little bit of discomfort in that, as opposed to being completely resolved that, flow is occurring. Money is a gift from God given into my hands to make this planet a place of pure love and joy. It's just a gift. I have chosen to receive it. It is flowing, and I'll be generous from the time I wake up until the time I go to bed. And that occurs every day, on most days. And it'll continue until I take my last breath, whatever is there. And you will experience the echo reverberating, resulting in opulence. And very soon you'll be not just 6 figures, 7 figures, whatever it may be. So interesting. I've been working with this because I do work with a collection of businesses. And consistently, month after month, we've had businesses who like grown tenfold during the time of the lockdown when all of their competitors have closed down. And I hear the founders say, wow, you know, this is the largest grossing month. Oh, I wonder if it was just a one-off thing. Well, no, it isn't. We've had 3 consecutive months of that. And it's growing. Oh, you know what? We not only achieved our goals, we achieved our stretch targets. It's coming from this spirit, releasing, removing distractions, and especially the discomforting ones. Stretch goals, little bit discomforting. You know, you just know that by every year you haven't yet achieved your goals. So stretch goal is like a feel good factor, but you know, you won't even get close to it. And wow, it's happened. And this, I'm using, you know, comparables in the business context. This applies to life. This applies to your relationships as much as it does to business and career. Remove your obstacle course. Obstacles are discomforting distractions that you have put in place that prevent you from living the calling of your soul. And this next one, am I at 6 or 7, Dea? Do you remember? Oh, you need to unmute.
I believe you have
6.
7. You've done 6
I
so
do
far.
6.
No,
Yeah,
This is
well,
number
number
6.
six.
This is number 6.
This is 6.
Number 6.
This is number 6. Yes. Okay.
No, this is 6.
Okay, great.
all 6.
No, I get carried away. So I lose track of it. The 6th impediment is a force of habit. And it's a habit that actually creates barriers. And the habit is a habit of pretending that we are driving forward. And actually, we are driving forward, having a really, instead of a windshield, we have this big rear view mirror. And that's our view. So we pretend to be driving forward, looking at the rear view mirror. So where are you going to drive into? At best, you will go back, but more often than not, you may actually crash because you're pretending to drive forward. You know, so you are, the car is in gear, handbrake is off, you've got your foot on the accelerator, and you're cautiously driving forward. So it won't destroy you, but it will certainly damage the car. The car, the analogy of the car is the vessel that you are using for fulfilling your intentions. So it could damage that, it could destroy it even. And at best, you will go back to where you began. So everything in its place. You don't just stop looking at the rearview mirror, you have it. But know that it is a rearview mirror just so that you can be cautious and aware of what else is going on, you know, in what else is there in the lay of the land where you are driving forward, taking your life and your intentions forward. In my world, it really is about collaboratively co-creating coexistence. So to drive forward, the rearview mirror is important, but in its place. Having that replace your windshield, you know, it is like crash guaranteed. And then you have Echo applied to gregariousness generating oppression. So where in your life are you pretending to drive forward? Looking at the rearview mirror. A lot of the generation gap issues in relationships or gender mismatch in relationships are often about this looking at the rearview mirror, pretending to drive forward. The patronizing experience that we sometimes have happens a lot when people display that negative connotation of ego. It's pretending to move forward, looking at the rearview mirror. And that becomes our biggest barrier to applying the echo effect to generosity, experiencing opulence. The seventh impediment that can come in the way is losing a connection to our words. Now, I'm not talking about dementia. What I'm talking about is losing a connection to the fact that your words always give you your world. That's not a destination to get to. That is so. Even if you are not able to speak, your thoughts, the words in your thoughts, give you your experience of your world. Because your words are an expression of you. Even when you sit back and you are spouting some judgment or the other, or an opinion on something outside of you, using a collection of words, you're only expressing what exists within you. This was like to me, it was a watershed moment when I got that. I love the idea of my words give me my world. I want to get to that level of flow and integrity. So that happens until I realize that is happening. Anyway, all the time, integrity, no integrity, doesn't matter. My experience of my world is expressed through the words I choose. When you get disconnected from your words, you are disconnected from the world. When you're disconnected from the world, that vital life force is missing. And to show up, you have to grab whatever you possibly can to feel that energy, and that gregariousness comes in. And the echo effect happens, oppression occurs. If your words give you your world, what it says to you is, I am on the driving seat. It is my choices that will give me the experience of how life occurs. And I have the capacity to choose. And if I can unchoose something that I have chosen before, I don't have to endure anything. You don't. Now, this is like a really big one, because you can transform your experience of devastation, frustration by just changing your choice of words. You will experience a shift in your own experience. So and we've all done that at some point or the other. We just look at something in a different perspective and it shifts. However, if you only ever do that, like a positive incantation, after a while your brain goes, no, lies. You get disconnected from your words. Hence, acknowledgement plays a very important part. Keeping your finger on the pulse, acknowledging wherever you're at, whatever it is that you're engaged in, as and when it is occurring, enables you to shift your experience using your words, and then enables that shift in experience to start becoming regenerative. Because you're not lying, you are acknowledging what's so. I mean, for me, when I worked with these 7 impediments that could come in the way of me making the choice of applying the echo effect to generosity, generating opulence in a full spectrum, regenerative way, I saw that each one of this is almost like a pearl in itself. If I only took up my owning the fact that my word gives me my world, I really own that. I take that up as something I get, shifted from a data input all the way to an inner knowing, and operate from that knowingness. Literally every area of my life transforms. It gave me an understanding that what I say to me, I say to another. What I say to others, I say to myself. I can be an observer of something that is occurring as a matter of fact, and I can share my experience of how it's making me feel. But speaking about something that is occurring as if it is my reality makes it my reality. So all these people being so careless out there without their masks, numbers going up in India, all, this like, I'm here in Dubai yet again, can't go to India. My home's been locked up for the last 6 months. How unfair is that? Okay, sure enough, here you get another dollop of unfairness to experience. On the other hand, it is a fact. I do feel disappointed at not being able to be home for 6 months. And I feel so privileged that I can actually travel. I can actually walk on the streets. I can go sit in a wonderful restaurant and feel safe. And I'm just so grateful to have the presence of mind to be able to make discerning choices. That gives me the experience of this world in a very physical way that I love. Continuing to do this work that I do online. I mean, you can see these words are regenerating, vibrant vitality. And I start noticing the generosity of spirit of people. I'm seeing before, I could easily have gone down the track of what's the stuff about masks. You can't even smile at anyone anymore. But I'm noticing that people are really relating through the mask. They're actually present. The plasticness, the veneer is gone. Even though you have this mask, when you look at someone, you actually take the time to look. You're not smiling, but looking somewhere else. So I'm like, wow, this is amazing. It connected me to the generosity of my spirit in such a deep way. And I started noticing the generosity in the spirit of each and every person that I was seeing around me. I mean, the exciting thing is that because because ego is really a point of choice, where the echo effect is applied to the choice you make, resulting in an experience, if you just chose your words with discernment, with presence, you get to understand that the choice is with you, what your experience of your world is. No one else's narrative defines your world. It just doesn't. You are the one. There's so much that I could keep talking about just this piece by itself, and we are at the end of our hour. So yeah, implement your own understanding and interpretation of each of these impediments and make your choice. That moment is here. The echo effect will occur and the experience will be the result. It's guaranteed. Results guaranteed. That's ego for you.
Thank you, Mynoo. That was amazing.
Over to you, Jay, to invite the completion words and then read them out so we can anchor them.
Yeah. Generosity of spirit, right? That's it. That's what we hold, the generosity of spirit. So if each of you would like to leave one word to share with the group, that would be amazing right now in the chat box. Okay, well, we have here, would you like me to read them, Mynoo, or you can read them?
Go ahead, please go ahead.
Okay. David, Giller, and Helene are grounded in the generosity of spirit. Wearing a maskless mask feels great to connect. Karen, my word creates my world. Mary, Catherine, wowzer, big heart, heart, heart. Linda Gray, magnificent yet again, of course. Sarah, discernment and choice. Mina, our thoughts make our world. Deep, deep and profound message. Leah, amazing feeling of generosity. There you go.
Thank you. Thank you all. And I did say I'm going to draw the curtain so you can see what the outside looks like.
You must. It's quite fabulous.
There you go. I'm here in downtown Dubai. And at night, actually, maybe on Saturday, I will have my curtains drawn. So you'll be able to see the fountain show. And that's the tallest tower in the world. I don't know if you can even see it.
It's beautiful, Mynoo. Stephanie says, wow, beautiful.
Pretty amazing.
It's gorgeous.
Yes. Great. With that, I'm declaring our session complete. Thank you all. This will go on YouTube before it goes on Facebook Live. We just weren't able to do the Facebook.
One more. Renelle says, I have never heard ego defined this way. Mind opening. I think that's the same.
I know each of these pearls of wisdom are like that. I get very excited when I receive the word. Thank you all. Thank you all. See you all on Saturday for Beyond Meditation. Thank you.
Thank you.